Let's start from the top and work our way down. So standing in a neutral spine with the shoulders gently rolled back, start by drawing semicircles along the chest, moving the head from one shoulder to the other. Once you feel comfortable with this movement, start to roll the head backwards. Now as you do this, make sure that you move in the parameters of what feels right for you. Making sure that we don't put any pressure onto the back of the neck or any pinching of the discs there, but also remembering not to hold yourself back. This is such an important part of your anatomy. We carry lots of tension and stress here, so moving the area, stretching the area is really going to help. As we come on to shoulder rotations, it's really important here that we keep the upper body straight. Imagine there's a beam of light coming out of your heart and it stays facing forwards at all times. As you start the rotation, try to encourage your hand to stay as close towards your body as you can. And then notice how the shoulders want to deviate and move that beam of light to the right and left. This is down to a lack of mobility, flexibility and strength in the shoulder. So keep the chest facing forwards, work on improving the shoulder motion. Now we come into the upper spine. Here we're looking to engage the muscles in between the shoulder blades, the rhomboids and the medial traps. So as you bring the hands back, squeeze them together, relax the stomach, but as you bring the hands forwards, interlace the fingertips and really work on separating the shoulder blades so you can feel the stretch. And now coming into side bends. This time we're going to align your movement with the breath. Inhale to reach hands overhead, exhale to side bend off to one side. This is such an incredibly important movement. It opens up the entirety of the side body, but for us it allows us to create more space in the lower spine, quadratus lumborum tissues, but also in the spaces around the rib cage. This is going to improve breath quality as well as flexibility and mobility of the spine. Next we come into twists. So when we come into twists, we're going to take a slight bend of both knees. We accept there's some rotation of the knee, but our primary focus is to twist the heart and the torso. Imagine you're wringing out the spine. Finally, we're going to come into some spinal flexes and rolls. After reaching hands overhead, tuck the chin into chest and round the spine down. Try to align it with the inhale, and as you inhale, stack each and every vertebrae one on top of another. Maybe taking hands into the smalls of the back as some support, and then back bend. These movements really are some of the most important things that we can do for the health of our spine, and therefore the health of our entire body. Try to seal the lips down, exhale into the fold, inhale into the back bend. And now coming into the deep squat. This is a very challenging movement, so as always, work within the parameters that feel right for you. Our main points of alignment here is to keep the toes turned out, lift the inner arches of the feet, and ensure that the knees stay outside of the big toes. As you do this, you can start to progress to deeper and deeper ranges. Now combining this with a secondary movement, forward fold. Again, choosing the option that's most appropriate for you. Either holding onto the thighs and the knees and the shins, or even hooking the first fingers underneath the big toes. Start to make your way down onto all fours. Place the hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And then we're going to come in some rotations here for the upper spine. Sliding one arm underneath the body, travelling as far as you can, and then reaching the hand overhead. Here, focus on creating as much of a twist through the torso as you can. As we take it to the other side, see if you can align breath with the movement again. The inhale is to reach the hand skywards, the exhale is to slide the hand and arm underneath the body. And now coming down to the hips. The hips are the hub of your movement. If we improve their strength, stability and flexibility, the entirety of the rest of your movements can improve too. Here we come into a half pigeon pose or a 90-90-90, and we can use the support of the fingertips, but as you progress, see if you can lift your hands in the air. Keeping the spine as straight as you can, pivot forwards, trying to rest the navel as close towards the thigh as is possible. As you rise, press down into the outside of the front leg, and you will feel the glutes and the hips become more active. As you take it to the side, we can do the same. Fingertips can act as a support, but as you progress, lift the hands into the air. Again, the focus here is that you are pressing down into the outside and inside of both knees. Now coming down into our lower lunge. Here we focus on pressing down into the foot, keeping the heel on the ground. But we want to encourage the knee to move towards the toes or maybe even beyond. Keep the knee outside of the big toe. And as you pull back to straighten the lead leg, bring the toes with you. Curl the toes skywards and squeeze the top of the foot towards the fleshy part of the shin. As you do this, you will start to improve your ankle mobility and strength. To progress the movement, inhale to reach hands overhead and exhale come into a balanced version of the half split. Now stepping back into downward facing dog, bringing the left foot forward and placing it in between both hands. As you lower down to the right knee, let's set the ankle up once again. Pressing down into the heel, encourage the knee to move forwards, and on the exhale, draw the knee back, stretch the back of the leg. Hands begin to lift, you will notice more of a stretch across the top of the thigh, even into the stomach area. This is helping you open up the hip flexors. On the next exhale, we step back to downward facing dog. And then coming forwards, start to lower your body down towards the ground. We're going to come back to opening up the front of the body. Extending both arms out into a T shape, we're going to use the legs to create a spinal twist. As you can see, one arm extends while the other walks in, and we use the placement of the legs to encourage the spine to twist and rotate. If your feet can't quite make it to the ground, don't force the movement. Just allow yourself to grow into this. now coming into Cobra Press Ups. This really is one of the most important movements for us to work on. The encouragement here is to use the muscles of the back. Rather than pressing down into the hands, try to bring your awareness to the lower mid back, squeeze those muscles and encourage those to lift your body as high as you can. Pressing just gently down into the hands for support and to give you an extra depth as you stretch the front of the body. And now progressing into full cobras or floor swimmers. Here, reach hands overhead, trying to keep your hands off the ground. As you bring them behind your back, use the muscles of the back to lift the torso into that back bend. Planting the hands down, we now come into a press up. Here I want you to focus on tucking the tailbone under. Where previously our focus was arching the spine, creating a back bend. Here we want the spine to appear very straight in its neutral position, very slight curvature to the lower spine. When you're lowering your shoulders down, lower to the point where you feel challenged, but where you can maintain this spinal position. Finally making your way onto your back, stretching your arms open into a T shape, keep the knees together, and then just gently start to rock the legs from side to side. Bring the legs as close to the ground as you can without them actually touching the ground. To progress the movement, start to extend the leg that's on top and try to reach the big toe towards the palm of the hand. Again, this is something that will come with practice and frequency of practice. Slowly making your way, first of all, back to all fours. Our focus here now is protracting the shoulders. That means that when you press into the hands, you create space in the shoulder joint. Imagine my hands in between your shoulder blades and you're pushing it away. Maintain this at all times. And as you inhale, come forwards into plank pose. And as you exhale, push up into downward facing dog. You come into your final downward facing dog, close down your eyes and seal the lips. And now start to practice breath awareness, focusing on the rhythm of the inhale and the exhale. To take this further, we lower down to the knees into child's pose, extend the arms overhead. Again with the eyes closed, practice the skill of focusing on the sensation of the inhale and the sensation of the exhale. And that brings our practice to a close. Well done today. I'll see you on the mat again soon.